I was standing in the middle of the cafeteria with my lunch tray in my hands when I heard Jordan Mitchell say my dead brother's name out loud to a table of 7 people. And every single one of them turned to look at me at the exact same time. Let me take you back. My name is Ellie, I'm 17, and up until about 3 weeks ago, I would have told you that my best friend in the entire world was a girl named Cassidy Moore. We'd been close since freshman year, the kind of close where you don't even have to text before showing up at each other's houses. Her mom kept my favorite cereal in their pantry. My dad called her his second daughter. We had one of those friendships that other people sometimes got jealous of because it just looked so easy from the outside. And honestly, it mostly was. Cassidy was the first person I'd text when something good happened, and the first person I'd call when something bad happened. She knew things about me that nobody else knew. Not my parents, not my other friends, not the therapist I saw for like 3 months sophomore year. She was my person, and I really genuinely believed I was hers. We had this thing we always said to each other, kind of joking but kind of not. Vault. Like if one of us told the other something serious, we'd say vault, and that meant it was locked away forever. It sounds dumb now. It sounds like something a couple of 12-year-olds would come up with. But it mattered to us, or at least it mattered to me, because I actually treated it like a real promise. Every single thing Cassidy ever told me in confidence, I kept. Her parents' financial problems, the time she cheated on a history exam, the situationship with that senior that she didn't want anyone to know about, all of it, vault. I never even came close to telling anyone. I need you to understand that because it's important for what comes next. Here's the thing about Cassidy, though, and I swear I'm not saying this to make her sound like a bad person because she's not. But there was always this pattern with her that I kind of just chose not to look at too closely. Cassidy needed people to like her, not in the normal way that everyone wants to be liked, in the way where she would shift who she was depending on who she was talking to. With me, she was real, or at least I thought she was. But with other people, she had this habit of using information like currency. She'd tell someone a little secret about someone else, not to be mean exactly, but to bond with them, to create closeness. Like, oh my God, don't tell anyone, but did you know that so and so? I'd seen her do it with other people's stuff. Small things mostly. Like telling our friend Morgan that this girl Priya had a crush on Morgan's ex, or casually mentioning to someone that another friend was on medication. Nothing catastrophic. But I noticed it, and I filed it away, and I told myself it would never happen to me because we were different, because I was the best friend, because we had the vault. I think part of me always knew that was kind of naive. But when you love someone, when they're your favorite person, and they make you laugh harder than anyone, and they hold your hand without you asking on the bad days, you let yourself believe things that a smarter version of you would question. I let myself believe that our friendship was the exception to who Cassidy was with everyone else. And I held onto that belief right up until the moment it shattered. About a year and a half ago, my older brother Marcus died. He was 21. And I'm going to be honest with you right now, the way he died is the part of this that I never wanted anyone at school to know. Marcus overdosed. It was accidental. He'd been struggling for a while, and my family knew about it, and we were trying to help him, and then one night he took too much and he didn't wake up. My parents told people it was a cardiac event, which technically wasn't a lie. But they left out the rest because they wanted to protect Marcus's memory, and they wanted to protect me from having to deal with people's reactions at school. And I agreed with that. I wanted that protection. Because I just knew, that if people at school found out the full truth, Marcus would become a story. A cautionary tale, a piece of gossip, and he was my brother. He taught me how to ride a bike and he used to make me playlists when I was sad and he called me Ellie Belly, even when I begged him to stop. He was a whole person, not a headline, so I kept it to myself for over a year. And then 3 weeks ago, I was having a really rough night. It was the anniversary of his death coming up, and I was lying on Cassidy's bed and she was playing with my hair. And I just broke. I told her everything, how Marcus really died, how my family had been covering it up, how I still sometimes went into his room at night and just sat there in the dark. I told her things I hadn't even said out loud to myself. And when I was done, I looked at her and I said, Vault. Cassidy, I'm serious. Vault, and she looked me dead in the eyes and she said, Ellie, obviously I would never. The next day, she told Jordan Mitchell. I still don't know the full details of how it happened. What I do know is this. The morning after I told Cassidy, she had a free period with Jordan and they were sitting in the library, and somehow the conversation turned to me and Cassidy told her. She told her everything. That Marcus overdosed, that my family had been lying about it, that I'd been carrying this around for a year and a half. She told Jordan Mitchell, who is genuinely one of the nicest people in our grade, but also one of the most talkative, and not even in a malicious way. Jordan just talks, it's what she does. So by lunch that same day, Jordan was sitting with a group of people and she was saying, did you guys know about Ellie's brother? It's so sad, apparently he actually overdosed. And that's when I walked in. That's the moment I opened with 7 faces turning toward me, and I could see it in their eyes. That specific look people give you when they know something about you that you didn't choose to share. Pity mixed with curiosity mixed with a little bit of that uncomfortable excitement people get when they're close to someone else's pain. I stood there with my tray and I felt my whole body go cold. Jordan's face went white. She said, "Ellie, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't think you'd," and I said, "How do you know about that?" My voice didn't even sound like mine. Jordan looked down at the table, and then quietly she said, "Cassidy told me this morning. I thought it was something people knew." I put my tray down on the nearest table. I walked out of the cafeteria. I went to the bathroom and I sat on the floor of a stall and I called Cassidy. She picked up on the second ring, and before she even said hello, I said, "You told Jordan about Marcus." There was this pause, this silence that lasted maybe 3 seconds but felt like a full minute. And then Cassidy said, "Ellie, I didn't mean for it to spread. I just needed to talk to someone about it because I was worried about you." And I swear, something inside my chest just cracked. After that phone call, things got bad fast. I told Cassidy I didn't want to talk to her. She texted me 17 times that night. Long paragraphs about how she was just concerned, how she didn't think Jordan would tell anyone, how she never meant to hurt me. I didn't respond to a single one. The next day at school, people were coming up to me in the hallway. Some of them were genuinely kind about it. This girl from my English class hugged me and said she was sorry about my brother and that her uncle had gone through something similar. And honestly, in another universe, maybe that would have felt good. But I didn't choose this. I didn't choose to have these conversations. Every single one of them felt like someone reaching into my chest and touching something that belonged to me. By Wednesday, our whole friend group knew what had happened, both about Marcus and about what Cassidy did. And this is where it got complicated, because people started picking sides, and I didn't ask them to. Morgan was furious on my behalf. She called Cassidy a terrible friend in the group chat, right there in writing, and 3 other people agreed. But then our friend Ava pushed back and said that Cassidy was probably just processing something heavy and didn't know what to do with it, and that maybe we should have some compassion. And I watched this argument unfold on my phone screen, and I felt like I was watching my entire social world split in half over something that should never have been public in the first place. Cassidy tried to talk to me at school on Thursday. She came up to me by my locker with red eyes like she'd been crying, and she said, "Ellie, please, I can't lose you, you're my best friend." And I said something I've been thinking about ever since. I said, "You're not my best friend anymore. I don't think you ever really were." And I watched her face just crumble. She walked away and she didn't try to talk to me again after that. Here's the part that I haven't told anyone yet, and honestly, I almost didn't include it here. 2 days after everything blew up, I was looking at Cassidy's phone location, because yeah, we still had each other on Find My, and I saw she was at the hospital. I panicked. I texted Ava asking if she knew what was going on, and Ava told me that Cassidy had been having really bad anxiety attacks since our fight and her mom took her to the ER because she couldn't stop hyperventilating. And Ava also told me something else. She said that Cassidy had been seeing a therapist since last year because she has this intense fear of losing people, and that the night I told her about Marcus, she spiraled because she was terrified something would happen to me too. She told Jordan not because she was gossiping, but because she was scared and she didn't know how to hold it. That doesn't make it okay. I know that, but it made me feel something I wasn't ready to feel, which was guilty. So that's where I am right now. It's been almost 3 weeks. Cassidy and I haven't spoken. Our friend group is still fractured. My parents found out that people at school know about Marcus, and my mom cried, which made me feel even worse even though none of this was my fault. I go back and forth every single day between being furious at Cassidy and missing her so much it physically hurts. She broke my trust in the worst possible way, but she also might have done it because she was genuinely afraid for me and didn't know how to carry that weight alone. And what I said to her at the locker, that she was never really my best friend, I know that wasn't true. I said it to hurt her, and it did. So here's what I need to know from you. Was I right to cut her off completely, or did I take it too far? And does her reason for telling even matter, or is a broken promise no matter what? Tell me, because I honestly don't know anymore.